Hello class, today we will be making a radial design. This is a radial design. It's a design that starts from a central point. You see the artist here has a central circle that's really tiny in the inside. After that, you make rings around it on the outside. All the way around, constantly adding rings. This ring is a little bit out of whack. It looks like it's not as straight. Try not to get your design messed up at all. This little piece of green turquoise is coming down into this part, and this orange line looks like it's getting lazy and going in. Don't let that happen. Keep making rings. You can make different size rings by holding the marker in different ways. Today we're using marker. The artist also used pointy dots to put design around here. That's fine as long as you don't press too hard. You have to only use the very pointy tip if you're going to be doing stippling dots like this. Stippling. Broad lines. Fine lines. Medium lines. This is also a radial design. It uses only two colors, just like the first one, but it only uses two prominent types of lines. There looks like some broad lines that are made here that are colored in a little finer, and then all the rest of the lines look chunky, except for this thin, dark orange line that is around, that is repeated, traced over. So these lines are a little thick, and the artist did use the marker to trace over an outline within the design. This is fine as long as it starts from a central point, a radial design. Let's get started. Please take out a piece of paper, and two markers of two different colors. I'm going to choose the warm colors orange and yellow for my design. The rest of my markers are in the box, away neatly and out of the way. My chair is pushed in all the way, and I'm sitting nice and tall so that I can get my camera is on so that the art teacher can give me dojo points for working attentively and orderly. Please take your marker cap and put it on the back. We're going to make one design on the back of this paper, but the first thing I want us to do on the front is to practice lines. So please take your marker, use the tippy point to drop it onto the paper. Don't press hard because the paper will soak up the color on its own. You don't have to press, and just drag it to make a very fine line. Don't press. Drag it to make another fine line. Don't press hard. Drag it to make another fine line. Then, after you make those three fine lines, then I want you to make medium lines by turning the marker sideways a little bit and using the side. Don't push too hard, just use the beginning part of the side to make the lines a little bit thicker. Don't push too hard. So I made three lines that look a little bit broader just by leaning the marker sideways a little bit. Sideways like this, tilting it. Tilt the marker even more now and make very broad lines. Tilt the marker very more now, much more, and make, wow, check that out. That's just by making the marker go sideways, lay down a little bit, and using its broad edge. Once you learn how to use all three parts of the marker, the pointy tip, you can make three dots underneath. Make these into exclamation points. exclamation points, 3 dots there. Then use your medium side to make 3 dots. You should not be pushing down on your marker. You should only be tilting it sideways to get the lines. All right, and after you're done with that, you prove that you know how to use 3 sides of the marker to get 3 different types of lines. You can write the words under it. Fine, if you know how to do this, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. Fine, medium, and broad. And you can do it with those sides of the marker. Fine, medium, and broad. Reverse it. Okay, because it was spelled backwards. The camera's backwards. Now, turn your paper on the other side and let's get started again. That was our warm-up. Please take your marker and decide which color you're going to use first. I'm keeping my other marker closed and either standing tall or laying flat. And my cap is always on the back of my marker. If you don't have markers, yes, you can use crayons or colored pencils. Now, that's just for an emergency. At this point, everyone should have markers because it's on the school supplies list. Markers and crayons. Let's go. Make the first central dot. I made mine like this. It's a circle. A tiny circle. Now I'm going to continue growing my design by putting rings that radiate from that central point, just like a heater, a space heater. If you have a space heater on, the heat radiates out. People used to use radiators. Some people still do. Radiating out, just like sound beams or sound waves might act like that. Just like the visualization of sound coming out of a speaker. Boom, 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 boom. It radiates out. Grow your design. I'm just using the medium side of my marker to make my rings. Continue making your rings now. Are you sitting tall? I might do anything. I might add more rings to this with the orange marker once I'm done. Try to fill up the whole composition. With the first design, the artist made it tight on the page with just some dots on the outside, but there was only about 1 inch left on each side. The bottom had about 2 inches and the top had about 2 and the sides had 1. For the other design, the artist expanded the design off of the entire page. So you can decide if you want a smaller design or a bigger design. If you make a smaller design, you have to put more fancy stuff with it to show that you got the design and you're not just trying to make a small design to go fast, but you want a small design for it to look so fascinating. Now I'm going to close up my orange marker and start to use yellow. I'm not using yellow to just color in my design. I'm actually making lines with it. Don't color in. There's no coloring in today like this. There's no coloring in today like that. We're using all lines. I'm putting okay, I cheated. It's supposed to start from the center. So I wanna leave my center like the way it is, but I don't want to start at the very center. I'm starting a little bit big with the yellow. I'm using the broad side of my marker to make circles next to the lines that are already there. That's what I'm doing in my design. The only rule is for the design to radiate out. A radial design. A design that starts from a central point and beams out. Miss French, are you bumping into the orange with the yellow? Is that going to mess up your marker? I'm trying not to, but I'm not worried if I do. Okay, I don't want my orange to be dragging my orange into my yellow. I want everything to stay clean. Look how it's coming out so far. All right, hopefully by now you started your design. You're going nice and slow, deciding when you're gonna close one marker, open the next one. If your markers are laying flat or standing tall, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna put any lines going this way, even though I want to. We're just doing all circles. No small lines. You are allowed to do little dots, but all circles like that. I feel like I want to stop my design here. If I was in an art class, I really would stop my design here and try to convince my teacher that my design is done. But I'm going to keep going just because I want to make sure our designs are more complete than this for the most part. Deleting some of the white space from the paper. Using broad lines, going nice and neat. Oops. I really wanted to leave it the way that it was, but I'm going to do more work because I have more time. I could start another design, but I want to keep going with this one because there's so much bright white paper still showing. Keep going. Make sure your hand, your wrist can rest. My hand is actually laying on the paper and I'm just twisting and turning. You might turn your paper to reach the other side. Breathe in. Oh God. Breathe out. That's right. Make sure your spine is tall. Make sure one hand is holding the paper still or turning it. This is the part where you're going to breathe easy and really think into your design. No coloring back and forth, just all lines. I'm more doing my design freely now. I'm putting the lines wherever they land. I do want to leave my circle this big. I'm not going to make it any bigger on the paper. All lines, no coloring in. No coloring in like this, just lines. Oh, I think I want to make some dots inside the white spaces now. If we can use 3 colors, I would choose red right now or black to do my dots, but we're only using 2 colors. Very gently. I should not hear anybody's marker. You should not be hearing my marker making noise when I'm making dots. Stippling. This is called stippling. When the marker touches the page, the paper will soak up the ink for you. You don't have to press hard. If you leave a marker laying on the pillow with the cap off, when you wake up, you'll see a whole puddle of ink in your pillow because the fabric soaks it up. Paper soaks it up too. You don't have to press hard. It's going to already come out, the ink, the liquid. The juice is already coming out of the felt tip marker, so you don't have to press hard. I'm going to continue going with some more stippling. I'm going smoothly around and around and around. I see some more white space up here. I'm going to put some stippling in here and in here and in here. Then we're done. What I'm thinking is my work might look a little bit like a sand dollar on the beach. Those shells that they call sand dollars. Sand dollars have a star in the middle, and a star is a radial design because it starts from the center of the star and then bursts out. That's a star is radial. So is a circle. Any shape can be used in a radial design. You can have a triangle that grows and grows and grows with more triangles around it. But we're just doing circles today. And we're also allowed to use little dots. It's called stippling. What are the 3 types of lines that you can make with your marker? Fine, medium, and broad. Fine dots, medium lines here, and broad. Finishing stippling here in this space. Stippling. 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 Or you can just call it stippling. All right. My radial design is now almost complete. I'm just putting more dots, more stippling in some spaces that I see that are left blank. And I'm keeping a smooth pace so that it comes out nice. I see some more space here. I could color it yellow, but I'm gonna put dots in there, stippling dots. Yada yada in my radial design. So instead of calling this radial design and stippling, we'll just call it radial design. All this space in the middle that's left blank, I think I want to leave it like that. It's part of my design. But Miss French, I thought you said we couldn't leave anything blank. So color it in. All right. I'm getting my yellow marker. I'm not coloring it in the way that I want to, which is just like this. Broad line. Wow, all I did was one ring and that kind of changed it up. There's more blank paper. Use orange. Do, 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 do. All right, almost finished here. Almost finished with my design. Putting some more dots inside, taking up the white paper. No white paper can be left, Miss French. Everything has to be colored in using only dots, stippling, or fine, medium, or broad lines. Let's go. Let's go, hurry up. It's almost time for us to show our work. If you want to show your work today, you get 5 dojo points. But you have to say something about the work and you have to use the word stippling or the word radial. And I also want to hear you using the word fine, medium, and broad. You have a little bit more white space, Miss French. Keep going. I want blue. Nope. 2 colors. Keep going. Do 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 do. Oh, let me put some yellow dots in the middle and that's it. Closing my marker, keeping it tall or laying flat. Do 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 do. Let me see some yellow dots. What yellow dots do in here? Very gently. You don't hear me pressing. You do? Is it too hard? No. All right, and I'm done. When you're done, write your name really neatly at the bottom with the darkest color or with the pencil if you have one. All right. And that's it. Be prepared to share your work. Put your markers away back inside the box. If you're finishing up your work right now, that's fine because it's time for us to share. If you want to share your work, raise your hand in Zoom right now. If you raise your hand in Zoom, you have to remember to put your hand back down. And you have to remember to use vocabulary while you're sharing your work. I'll share mine now. Hi, my name is Miss French, and this is my Radial Design. It's made of rings, and also I used Stippling. I used the fine side of my marker, as you can see, to make fine lines. I used the medium side of my marker to make medium lines, and I used the broad side of my marker to make broad lines. Thank you. Who's next? Who's first? Bye-bye.